chain wallet? Why not? Spike jacket? Sure. Brass knuckles? Whatever.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson. I am your host. This week we are filling in another band from Asheville, Doomed and Stoned, and we have the Saturday night headliner here. We have Bobby Ferry from the band 16 here with us today. Dude, how are you doing?
I'm good. Getting psyched to play the East Coast.
Yeah, and you all actually just got off tour here recently. You all were overseas. How was that?
It was 28 days, so it was busy. There was some time off, but it was such a good time. You know, we hit a few festivals, the Desert Fest in Oslo, the Desert Fest in London, the SWR Fest in Portugal, and then 2 Heavy Psych Sounds Fests in Italy, and then 1 Heavy Psych Sounds Fest in Switzerland. And then the rest of the days we filled with, headlining dates. And, had like maybe 3 days off the whole time, but for the most part, it was just, drive, rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
Rinse, repeat.
Yeah, 3 days off in 28 days. That's pretty rad. That's real road dog stuff anymore, to actually get out and do
maybe
it.
four.
Okay,
I don't know.
so even still 4 days, but still, I mean,
typically we have no days off, to be honest with you, and I kind of look forward to that because it gives you a destination each day. But this one was perfect. We had 2 days off in Amsterdam. I got a cold anyways, so it just worked out. So
those are always the worst times too. It always happens.
You got to get sick on tour.
You're about to get on break. When you have a day or two off, it's getting you're.
Well, better than forcing me to go on stage with feeling,
exactly
with a head cold.
Yeah, because those are terrible. Done that myself. So, getting over to the East Coast, playing Doomed and Stoned, when you got the invite to come out and play, and you saw, I guess you looked at the lineup and things last year with this being Chapter 2, and it's like, so how do we build on a big show? And then we got to have an equally as big band like 16 coming in, and Duel from Texas on Friday, which 2 really kick-ass bands on both nights. Are you all coming in to do other shows as well? Or are you just doing this?
No, this is just come in and play this show and
strike
take
fast.
Off. Yeah, we we have some after all that touring, we do have some frequent flyer miles. So that helps with the logistics of things, but it just sounds like a good time, and we're generally down for a good time.
Okay, you did just bring up something really cool, and I don't think a lot of bands really do this like they should. You said we racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles because of going overseas and going on tour. Sign up for that shit. Seriously, bands. Sign up for all the rewards programs that you can, because it does, it's this generation's couponing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also, if you, it's better to have an adventure out of town sometimes. And, if you have somebody to help backline you, there's really no excuse, except now airfare's really expensive. I get it. Money is the impedance
inflation.
To it all. Yeah, but, it's just like, time value money. And, we always kind of do things like this where just like, we don't operate as a business. We operate as a adventure machine. And then the business, hopefully, in that spirit, the business end usually just works out. So or we'll take a loss on this and we'll take a win somewhere else. It's not about the logistics and making things happen, because I think if you start judging things on that as your goal, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities and a lot of good times.
Exactly.
So, you kind of have to like put all that aside and just kind of like go for it with these things. And we've kind of always done that, at least for the past 15 years, where, you just Spirit Airlines if you have to, and just kind of go for it. Well, Spirit's no longer around.
Yeah, Spirit's no longer there.
Yeah.
I believe they got bought up by something that had a government contract involved in that conspiracy theory, in that big conspiracy theory thing out there. But aside from all of that, no, you're absolutely right. It is about the adventure as well. And I think when people lose sight of that, and it is strictly in the business, and, I think that's, again, what separates artists from people just wanting to acquire fans.
Well, I think art doesn't have, like, art with a business model is always prone to failure.
Sure, because you got to value it. Yeah. And what's upsetting about it, though, is that you see so many people that just like that capitalize on a minuscule amount of talent, I guess. and that's what's the unfortunate thing about it, because there's bands out there, and the longevity of a band, y'all took a 3-year break essentially. And so with a band being around for over 30 years at this point, you have a pretty big well to choose from musically.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to go through old songs and have that, like, whenever you write a song, 3 months to 6 months later, it's kind of always new to you. And if it kind of sticks, if it stands the test of time, and I think some of our stuff in the context of our, genre and stuff like that, a couple things have stuck and a couple things haven't. And sometimes it just boils down to like what we want to play and what we don't. But we kind of always stay focused on writing new stuff. And, I can sit around and play, to my house, at my house, and played all my old songs. But when playing live, having that well to know what works and what doesn't, and so we don't have to kind of force a whole new album on everybody live.
Sure.
But we're still really motivated to create, like, the magic here, so to speak. Where the magic really happens, I think, is creating new stuff and writing new albums. Like, that's like kind of our first, like, joy. And then, kind of everything else is secondary. Well, and then playing live is probably, number 2 or number 1. But having those,
is always king to me. So
it is. If you can do, you can write all these great songs, but if you can't play them live and, make people feel it, and you feel it yourself, then you're just kind of wasting your time. But that frees us up, like with any band, there's like, 3 songs from each record are better than the rest. Like, I don't care who we're talking about. Some people have their first 10 songs and it's that sustains them for the rest of their career and in their mind. But I think having 11 records now, there's a few songs that I love from each one. I'm quoting somebody else, but each song is like a little message in a bottle. Like, you get to send it to somebody, and you don't know who's going to get it, or a lottery ticket, if you will. So you don't really know what songs are going to stick or not, but you know what you like, and what you've created is something you want to listen to. Then I really don't think about much else at all.
And see, and that's an amazing aspect of it. And I hear so many people say that. It's like when they're in the bands that they're in, it's because they're creating the music that they want to listen to. And yet I hear so many musicians. See, I'll listen to stuff that I've been on. I'll revisit it. 10, on some of my albums 10, 12, 13, 15 years later kind of stuff. 20 years later even. And just being there in thinking about the time frame of where I was when I made that, and just like knowing that there's people out there who are musicians that cannot stand or will not listen to their stuff after a master mix is made.
Yeah, I'm definitely not that person either. I created it. First it was created for us.
Those guys.
Well, it obviously worked for him.
Sure. So maybe we should all just quit listening to ourselves and just put it out and let it go.
Well,
I don't know.
We gotta play it live though, and he sure knew how to play it live.
That's true too. Very true.
So you can't, if he didn't listen to it, he sure as heck rehearsed it.
The latest album, the covers album, Tragedy, the first single off of it, run me through like wanting to do something like this. Like, always an adventure, we got that, and always wanting to have fun with it. So like I've always been in the band where it's like, we should all pick a song and do it, but then nobody can ever agree on their song. And it's just like, so when you all get together to do like this covers, like, how are you getting it? How are you picking these songs?
Like, if you don't want to do it, I think that's kind of we're supposed to be adept musicians that I request judgment at the end of the creative process. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the idea is not great, but with these, we just, it was during COVID, to be honest with you. And we were like just bored. And so it was like, we had just released a record, that Into Dust, the one from like 2022 or something. And then COVID, well, it actually was whenever COVID happened, it was like released and our tour got canceled. And so we were just like, okay. And then we, did the whole lockdown thing like everybody did. And then it got to the point where, you got to mask up and all that. We just started hanging out at the practice space. And, if this is going to be the new apocalypse, then this is it. But to kind of keep ourselves busy, we had new songs, but then we always have had covers. Like, we're a band like, Cult Nation asked us for a Black Flag cover one time. We just did it in like 3 days. Like learned it, rehearsed it, and then recorded it in like 3 hours. And so that's the story of that one. And the Black Sabbath one was done, I think, for Cult Nation too during COVID. And then it was just like, we always we used to cover a Killing Joke song. We cover Slayer in our discography, At Dawn They Sleep, that we turned into like a 10-minute Doom song. That was a split with Grief. So this band has always kind of had a relationship with covers. So yeah, like we just, and the Bee Gees song came about. Alex, our guitarist, brought it, and then it only took one listen. I've heard it, of course. I'm old enough to remember my older sister dancing to that album, and
right.
So I heard it, and then I really investigated the vocals and the lyrics, and it's just a real. It's up there with a doom sorrow song akin to Candlemass or something. Like those lyrics. The lyrics are, all about loss, and you're going nowhere, and you have no one to blame, And so I was just like, well, these lyrics are perfect. How can I can't improve on Barry Gibb as a poet, but we can kind of mold
Very true.
this. We can mold this in the exact same key with the almost exact same structure to make it cool, and to kind of, make it crush that we like it. So I mean, that's like the impetus to it, and that's kind of how we approached all of them. It's like, it'd be awesome to do that song. All right, well, then let's learn it. And if it, if we all look at each other and it feels wonky, no love lost. I like I said, I hope we have the, after being musicians for so long, we got the skills to just kind of do things. And then if they're not great, then we don't do things. But if we believe there's some potential or we find any joy in it, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. So nearing 35 years in a band, and at that point, I think for most bands, I think anything over 10 years could almost be considered a legacy band at some point, But almost at 35 years, 2027 ish is around there. And what's still the message today? Because you said you're constantly wanting to write new albums.
Yeah, I mean, that is the message. I mean, we have another album like halfway written at this point, written in between kind of all the things we do. And we're normal human beings with, families and jobs and responsibilities. But we put a lot into this because, like I said before about the adventure machine, sometimes you hit the rock and roll lottery. Or if you fail at something long enough, they'll call you a legend, is my other quote. But sometimes you do hit the rock and roll lottery, like we get a theater gig with Pentagram is amazing. And, a festival here or, a headlining gig, at a bar in Tijuana can end up being like one of the funnest shows, or in the basement of a abandoned winery in France where everybody breaks bottles. So like, it's just like, I think the message is just continue. Like that's the overarching message is like, I kind of wrote that on our album Into Dust. Like, I'm going to grind this thing into dust. I'm going to literally grind it into dust. Like, we're going to either destroy it or build upon it. And luckily, with effort, we're able to keep creating and keep building, however slow or fast. I mean, I don't know about you, but I always thought when I was like 15 or 16 years old that I would change, like I'd somehow be another person. And now I'm, 52 years old, and I have not changed since I was a 15-year-old. Like, I still listen to Misfits, Slayer,
that's wild that you
Metallica. I'm still, smoking weed and listening to metal and obsessing about guitars and Les Pauls and
still bitching about the government on both sides and how they all suck.
I'm just literally
yeah.
the same, like, and that's kind of reassuring too, because now it's like, at least I know exactly who I am. But I always thought when I was a kid that, I'm gonna grow out of this metal hardcore and skateboarding and weed and guitars, and I never did. And so, by the time I hit my 30s, I'm just like, it's the forever thing, and it's awesome. It's the only thing that gives me the tingles is doing it. So,
and that's so interesting that you bring that up, and a couple of points here, and there's so much to unpack, and it parallels in life. Into dust. You're going to do it until you grind it into dust. Either that or build upon it, and I get that 110%. My publishing company for my music is Until I Get It Right.
Which is never, ideally, you never get it right, because you need to keep, I think
you're going to keep doing it until you get it right. And
But
And that came from a line of lyric in a band I was in the early 2000s called Full Tilt. We were kind of a new age rock band, kind of alt rock deal in that time period, kind of Kings of Leon before Kings of Leon were a thing that were really popular. And there was a line in a song that is unreleased actually. It said, "You're gonna have to wait until I get it right." And I said, well, there's no other way. That was my first choice when I filed for my royalty affiliation for publishing. I was like, I have to do this, it's until I get it right because it's never going to happen. So fuck.
Ideally, you never get it right, and I think a subtle dissatisfaction keeps you motivated.
Sure. And the other thing that you mentioned is being around 15 and 52 now. And I just turned 43, and I've been talking with my mom. She's had some health issues over the last couple of years, and she's going to be 73 this year. And we were talking about that exact same thing, about how she said, she's like, I was 17 in 1972 or 71. And she's like, I don't feel any different than I did then. I feel physically like, yeah, I hurt a little bit more, and but like here, she's like, I'm still into the same stuff. I still like doing the same things. I like same thing. And that's interesting. It's like, and a few years ago, I came up with a question, and I thought was like, whatever you think your best year is, 15, 16, 17, somewhere in that time period, if you could go back and live in 1 year in history, that year that you were in, that you picked, that it's like your coming of age, I guess, what year would it be? Like, mine was 17. I would probably say I would want to see what it was like to be 17 the year of my birth in 1983. If I were living in like the LA area, seeing like a Metallica or something,
I think those things are kind of like, I also don't want to be like someone who's clinging to nostalgia as well. So like I try to like go to shows all the time anyways. Like I just went to the Shea Cafe, which is holds 90 people, a day or two ago. Like I try to, but growing up in LA in the 80s and in the 90s, I witnessed rock and roll history a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of times. Our original bass player, his foot is the foot and the Converse tapping in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video, and we saw them the night before that, and I saw like Soundgarden at the Whiskey, and I borrowed my parents' car and I got towed. I've seen the Butthole Surfers, Bad Religion. I've seen. I grew up going to punk shows in LA and to shows. So if I was to pick, of course, early 90s, I think were super formative for rock music, and there was just so much good stuff. But it was also like, it became so mainstream. It's like, I don't know who the enemy is anymore,
Sure.
Because punk and metal were such a subculture. When grunge happened, some of us were like, hey, like, hey, I don't want this. Well, all these jackasses to like this. But you can make that same argument today too. But I think like I'm blown away musically all the time, especially on tour.
Sure.
There's a band called Desert Storm from London that were great. They were like, it's kind of like Clutch, kind of heavier, a little more atmospheric. It's like, man, when I when did I hear of this? Like this, and they were like, yeah, we've been, together for
Hate
like
to
10
be
years.
that guy here, but
Yeah.
with a band name like that, you would think it would be American South military worship or something.
I know exactly. But, there's like, we just ran into, we run into so many good bands on tour that I just think kind of sometimes if they'd stick with it, what they're doing would definitely stick because there's so much good stuff. Like, I think the kids are all right. I think everyone's, like
Yeah.
if I complain about not listening to music or doing it, that means like either I'm not going out enough or I don't have the right friends.
Sure. So when you're with your storied career of being a musician as long as you've been and playing as long as you have, when you've went to these places and you've played these shows, have you ever come across people that have opened your shows, but they've opened your shows like in different bands? Like it's been like a couple of years difference or something, and they're playing in a different band or something. And
forever.
yeah,
I mean, the band Sun, their first gig was opening up for us.
okay,
At the PCH Club. And, we used to share a practice space with them and Goat Snake. So there's that. And then there's, our bass player went on to our original bass player, Tony Baumeister. He plays with Burton C. Bell right now. But he was in a band, Ages. They signed to Century Media like 10 years ago or whatever. And, they toured with Tool and all that stuff. But yeah, so many bands have crossed over that we've either played with. I mean, I'm thinking about Amigo the Devil was, you can see there's a poster right there. It's like Neurosis, Pelican, Goat Snake, Baptist, The Body, Us, Author and Punishment, and Eagle, Amigo the Devil was, just doing like pop-up sets between everybody. And now he's filling theaters. So like, he was obviously a major talent. I've seen, we've opened when we first started playing in the 90s, we played with Fu Manchu more than a few times when there might have been 10 people there.
okay.
So it's, you stick around long enough, either something really profound comes through. And I think that happens a lot. They're kind of all of us who stick around for like 20 years or something.
Hell yeah. So what's going on for the rest of 26? We've got Doomed and Stoned. You said you've got to have about a half an album. Are there more tour plans coming up for the rest of the year that you're able to talk about? By the time this comes out, this will be on the 10th of July.
Okay.
Just so you know a timeline.
Yeah. No, we're an open book. We got some decent gigs lined up here and there, like little regional things, but no hard touring, as we've used all of our time off at our jobs, leaving for a month in Europe.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But you never know what email you're going to get, or you never know what's going to happen. And luckily throughout the years, we get lucky, or, we're fucking blessed or something. But I would say, the sludge metal gods will bestow something upon me sometimes. And sometimes, it's just like this tour, like this, we thank the sludge metal gods for giving us this tour. And having, and it's as random as it seems. Yes, there's a bunch of hard work behind it, but there's also like circumstance and luck. And, they always say it's like not how good you are, it's who you know. It's actually both.
Yes.
You got to be good, and you got to know some people, because people aren't gonna go into business with assholes, like nobody. So it's like, if you're kind of vetted and a solid human, and are, reliable, then you tend to get a little more opportunities. And I think maybe we fall into that category as decent humans, lucky, and we're reliable. So
Well,
we'll see what the future
absolutely.
holds. We'll see what the future
Yeah,
holds.
hell yeah. That absolutely. Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I know we're playing on the same day at Doomed and Stoned.
We'll
So
be there all day. We
yeah,
got
we will too. Yeah,
yeah,
we will too. We've got this. We're doing this whole weekend down there. We're
cool.
going for the Friday as at the Odd, and we're doing the Saturday as well, and because we're playing as well. So, and friends with Josh, the promoter. We're the Metal Forge sponsored last year's show. We did quite a few interviews and everything. This year we're doing in persons because I'm going to be there. So, but some general questions about Bobby as a person. What would you go back to school for?
I hate to say it, but I think I'd be a lawyer.
Now, okay. Now, a lawyer or like a lawyer, like Saul Goodman.
No, I definitely don't want to get involved in crime. But
You need
I
a
can just tell
criminal
you,
lawyer.
I get, I mean, right now I work adjacent to some attorneys, and they make twice as much as me for doing twice as less. So, and who knows what'll happen in the future, but also, there's some romanticism of working within the justice system and making some wrongs right. But I think that if I had to do it again, that's like one of my only regrets is uh, go to tough it out and go to school more. I never liked school at all, though. So I detest school. So it's a long way off. I only lasted like 3 years in college. So
Sure.
I
Yeah,
made it this
college is
far.
completely different.
Yeah, I made it this far, and I'm lucky to achieve what I've achieved. But man, if I was a lawyer.
I understand. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, and I don't know, a lawyer. I think I would go back for something like in a trade personally. Like I work in auto parts now, but I think I would go into something like into a management trade or something.
I do that now, and it is what it is. But you're almost there's babysitting, and then there's also like the organizational behavior, and then there's driving other people's behavior positively, and then there's dealing with the numerous people that you have to deal with, meaning the 10 employees who do this, and then the 10 who do that. So it's exhausting, and it's awesome too. But I used to work at the parts counter at a Harley Davidson place, like in my early 20s. So I've done parts picking, and that taught me a lot. I always say, like, before I met those dudes, I never knew how to clean anything. Like, I know how to clean, well, if my wife's not listening, I know how to clean a bathroom. I know how to clean a lot of shit, because of working in a motorcycle store for years around about a bunch of gearheads. And
hmm
I was like, I learned like a lot of valuable stuff there that I don't think I would have learned in college, or the someone school of management. It gave me like kind of boots on the ground. uh you know
Definitely.
so
Hell yeah. You're in an elevator with your hero. Who's your hero first?
hmm, I think we'll go with geez, like, who are my guy? You have your guitar guys, you have your Bond, your Angus
hmm
Young. I don't know, Angus Young, probably. Like,
All right.
how do you milk so much? You know,
Out of the chords, out of the pentatonic
that,
scale.
and just, you know, it's like that I don't know if you've seen the documentary, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, where they make the guy make rice for 5 years until he gets it right. I kind of feel that way about Angus Young. Like, you could do that for 5 or 10 years and still not get the nuance of exactly how he does the most basic things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have like a real appreciation for that. So, you know, Angus Young, as a songwriter and as a riff writer, I mean, come on. Yes. And,
Sure.
you know, the similarity and the adventure is not there, but the similarity and the consistency, but it works every time for me. And I don't care what people say. It's every single chord he plays is a piece of art.
Oh, absolutely. There's something about his tone, his grip. That's it.
And
It has to
just
be.
standing there next to, you know, in the back or next to the drummer, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's
So you have 90 seconds in an elevator with him. What would you ask, or what would you say to him?
First, I need to know the string gauges. Second of all, we all know what amps he plays. Um, and then, like, basic advice, like songwriting advice. Like, give me your inspiration for how you're able to maintain that quality and those hooks. Give me something. And he'd probably say, like, "Oh, mate, it's nothing." You know, so I think some people just are magical beings.
For sure. No, you're absolutely right. There are some that are, and there's the ones that they do it and you just don't understand, and I had a friend who just like delved into the Beatles catalog. And whether you're a fan or not, there are some things that they did that are just mind-boggling. Like certain
With no blueprint. No
Yeah, with
blueprint.
no
They were,
blueprint from
yeah.
from a recording technique to a playing technique where they like one person starts a riff and the other person finishes the riff, kind of
Yeah.
things that they used to do. And it's just like them, they had a thing. Angus has a thing. Lemmy had a thing. And
Yeah, I mean,
James and Lars have a thing, and it's called
originality.
Radar Love. No,
Yeah, yeah. Originality really counts for more than the talent, I think. You know, like, everybody's talented, everybody's good, everybody can do a lot of good things, you know, but there's something to originality. Also, I think I'd mention Bill Steer from Carcass. He's like another one of those people. Every time I see him, I'm just like, all, you know, like, just everything he plays is perfect. Les Paul Jr. and, like, just magical fingers and a really basic setup. He plays like two pedals and a head, but what he makes come out of his guitar is just, crazy talent.
mind-boggling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy talent. And so every time, like, I'm a true metal fan because, I'm obsessing at these things at age, 52.
sure, sure. Um, what are some of your deepest values?
Kind of reliability, consistency, and do the right thing. Like, it's the easy solution is to just do the right thing. And to know that you don't have to ruminate, um, and live in regret that you did the wrong thing. We're all going to do the wrong thing, eventually, or always, or continually. But to notice, like, consistency in yourself and play to your strengths. You've heard the thing of, like, coach to your strengths. Well, I kind of want to do that naturally myself. I want to coach to my own strengths. And yes, there's holes in my game, holes in this, but for the most part, I'm going to make what kind of propels me like my strengths. And that's, if you generally like just be a decent human and don't fuck people over totally, and don't do the basics of, don't steal and be a immoral shithead. It's a lot less work in life. It's the hard path, but the easy path, because sometimes you want to take advantage and do whatever you can to look out for number one. But when you stop really looking out for number one, because when you have kids, it's not about you, it's about them. And I think you realize that when you become a parent, stuff like that, you just have to be consistent. You got to show up and know that life is peaks and valleys, non-linear. And if you do that, you're going to be available for like what happens today, because that's all, like the drunks say, like the 12-steppers say, oh, you have one day at a time. So I kind of love that about them.
Right. Hell yeah, man. So I have one more question, but before we get to it, as always, links are listed below. So give likes, shares, follows, do the things and the stuff. See them at Asheville Doomed and Stoned here on July 17th and 18th at the Odd and the Sly Grog, respectively, there in Asheville, North Carolina. Super rad times, awesome bands on both days. Duel, Crop, Horse Burner, 16, Ice Howl, so many awesome bands on that show, that festival weekend. Dude, Bobby, thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. Do you have any shout outs or anybody else you'd like to give thanks to, or anything else you'd like to promote today?
Well, shout out the other members in the band that make this happen. And then, we have our record from last year, Guides from the Misguided. I still like it. We have our newest record that came out last month, the covers on Heavy Psych Sounds. We've got over 10 records. If you haven't heard us, check us out, as always. Appreciate anyone who listens. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to our riffs and our songs in this marketplace of just being bombarded with media at all times and information. So if you stop by our little corner of the world, we greatly appreciate it. And, come out to the show in North Carolina and, let's bro and sister down and rock out on a Saturday night, because literally it could all end tomorrow.
Very true. Very, very, very true. And yeah, definitely. If you're there, be there. If you want to be there, be there. No time like the present. I tell that to friends all the time, and I have to constantly remind myself that too. Like Metal Monday doing interviews, but hey, sometimes you got to do the work to get the reward. And the reward is Asheville Doomed and Stoned for me this year, along with a few other things. But yeah, totally going to have some rad times there. So my final question of the day is, if you were the teacher of a class and you had to impart some bit of knowledge into a younger mind, what would you try to tell them?
Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Or showing up. You got to show up. At the bare minimum, you got to show up and exist. I mean, we're social animals, so don't neglect your social skills. They're children. We all have to live in this world together. And I think a lot of that is missing now with, I'm sounding like an old man, but our fucking faces in the phone. So show up to everything. Show up.
Yeah.
Just show up. Leave the house.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. And showing up is definitely that. And, being a social animal, definitely, because, when you neglect that, that's when the proverbial they
Yep.
get you. And then,
Yep.
when they say don't let them grind you down, that's when they grind you down, is when you neglect that social part of yourself, because then you start feeling you start having those feelings to where you have inadequacies or whatever, and you don't. You know we're all the closest approximation to normal is what we like to think that we are, but we all have to be there to enjoy each other as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why prison solitary confinement is considered torture now.
Yeah.
Like it's not hard to be lonely, but it's a skill like anything else, and like just back to showing up. Like, find something, like, what is the Bukowski quote, is find something you love and let it kill you. Well, I found guitar and metal, uh, and let's try to die with our boots on. So, and I think, if a lot of people have an all-encompassing hobby or art, there's a lot less space in your psyche for all the self-generated negativity, doubt, insecurity, general envy, evilness, or whatever. Like, try to watch what you chew on, and thank the good Lord. I found fucking metal, 5150s.
Yeah, man. Oh, so much. Bobby, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I'm looking so forward to meeting you all in person and just rocking out, and just hanging out, watching some awesome bands play together, having some brews, some whatever else.
eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. So, like,
very true. Very,
so yeah,
very,
yeah.
very
Looking so forward to that. Haven't been to Asheville, but I love.
It's been a few years for me.
I love the Carolinas, and I spent a lot of time in Florida as a kid, so I'm well aware of that area of the country, being from deep Florida, from Homestead, Florida. So.
Hell yeah. So on our way out today, I think we're gonna do Tragedy.
Right on.
Hell yeah.
It's a Bee Gees song. We didn't write it, but hopefully we reinterpreted it.
And it's amazing.
Thank you.
Just here it is.
Thank you.
Tragedy. Metal every day. Bobby, thank you.
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttatoosandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza DoNisi. Pizza DoNisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Alright, metalheads, time to listen. That's right. Definite Metal Stomp, Awesome Brews, Pizza Next Door, check. Metal shows, double check. That's right, Mag Bar at 1398 South 2nd Street in Louisville, Kentucky. Friends of the Metal Forge for years. Get in there, get some drinks, get some pizza, see some bands, metal every day.
In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shadebeast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shadebeast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shadebeast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.
In a broken wasteland, I come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon my pyre. Oh, this is the Metal Forge. This is the Metal Forge. This is the Metal Forge.